Well, how's it going, everybody? Today is Monday, April 27th. It's about 12:15 right now. We're running this afternoon's feed off, and then we are going to be going and replacing or trading places with Jeremy. He's going to go eat lunch, and then after he eats lunch, he's going to run the 7400 with a little disc on it. And he's actually going to go over here across the road and take out some of the ruts down in the low line area, and then the field right over here, he's going to do some in it too, and then he's going to be heading back to the ground that we've been disking here the last 3 or 4 days. Back there, it's a different type of soil. It's actually across the field there. It's about 4 or 5 different types of soil. It's a low-lying, swampy type area. The whole field down there is, well, one side of it's 25 acres, and we're only going to get probably 20 acres out of it because the rest of it's too wet. And then we got another section that should be about 20 acres, and I bet we're going to end up with somewhere around 13 or 15 acres that we're going to be able to do right now. We do have the traco and the dozer down there trying to help drain the ground, and we're going to be getting in the big disc and trying to finish that up today, and then hopefully 4 or 5 o'clock this afternoon we're unhooking the big disc and hooking up the drill, getting the drill all ready, calibrated, cleaned out, all that good stuff. Any spider webs, dirt daubers, anything like that. And then hang on a second. And then maybe this afternoon we can start drilling some of this. Right now we got about 100 acres that's ready to go, and then we have enough seed to do 150 acres. But what's going on is tomorrow night, about 11 to midnight, there's supposed to be a severe storm coming through, and we're already probably, I can't even remember now, 2 or 3 weeks from where we wanted to plant, because it's been so wet. The last time it rained was Sunday afternoon, so just a week ago, and it's just now dry enough to plant on most of it. A few fields are dry a lot better than others, but all the way across it's just now ready to be able to drive over it. So if we don't get it today or tomorrow, then we may have to wait another week again. So we don't want to do that. We want to get it done. So we're out here now. This is field number 40, 41, 42, and I think it was not last week, maybe a week and a half ago. We were sitting still because it was too wet, so we came out here. We took down the 3 electric fences that ran across the middle of these 3 fields, and ended up basically using that fence and some other wire and building a fence on this other piece to keep the heifers out. We're about to get over here in just a second. Right through that gate gap right down there is where we built the new fence, and then so we plowed up that section where we put the new electric fence in this property line right here, this tree line. That should be 25 acres, and this is about 20 acres. So let's see, all of this here was solid woods, I mean jungle type woods. In 2012 is when we bought this, and I believe it was around 2014 we had all this section cleared, and then we sprigged it with Tifton. But then after that we came in, put the water lines in for the water troughs and a few other things, and just over the last few years, some of the places where we buried stumps and things like that had sunk down. Where the water line is, it had sunk down because we dug that with a traco bucket, and then also this freaking swamp deal here in the middle. We tried to fix it the best we could when we cleared the land, but it just wasn't done right. And in the middle of summer that'd be dry and you could drive all through it. I mean, you could drive through it now, but it's holding water, and there are a few places that you'd probably get buried, but we decided to go ahead and put this field into, or these fields into sorghum to try to fix them, getting them smooth, getting them leveled off, getting all this to drain, and we just didn't have the time to do it how we wanted to. You know, we wanted to be able to do the whole thing, but you know, so far this being one of the wettest years, and really the last 5 years have been top 10 wettest years, our springs. So it just haven't had the opportunity to really do it. So this would be kind of like step number one to getting all this fixed up proper, and you know, moving forward on it. So it's kind of the same thing on the other side. It's a place that we rent, and it is rough. It is nobody even wants to run a bush hog on it, because you just feel like you got the crap beat out of you after driving in a tractor all day. So that's what we're doing, and this over here will stay wet all summer. You know, the soil will stay damp, so it'd be a good place to grow a crop like that, and that is the plan. So we'll get over here and we'll trade Jeremy, and then he'll go eat lunch, and like I said, he's gonna run the little disc and we're gonna run the big disc until we get done. We'll do a real quick history lesson on this land. Go back to probably the 1950s or so. The creek, well, let's start over. Somewhere back in the middle of this property on this side of the fence is 250 acres, and there was no water on it. There's two little bitty creeks that came off each side of that big hill that's through them trees that you can't see, but it looks like somebody went in with man, it had to be like mules, and they dug out a little bit of a ditch, and there's actually a perfect circle where the dirt's mounded up, and it's not really noticeable unless you really look at it, that they had drug the dirt out and piled it up out there in the middle trying to hold water. The creek came through before we even owned the land, our original land. It came through, let's see, I think it stayed on our land, and then came through over here, and then actually ran right here where these yellow dandelion deals and swampland grass is coming through right here. And then it really looks like at one point it may have run all the way over here and through here, and then it had, you know, that's probably over, who knows, 200 years ago, more, 1,000 years ago, who knows. Yeah. But I mean, it's obviously there was a creek running through there, and then it must have shifted or moved and then ran through here, and actually right here it went straight right through the woods and on around, and basically rode the fence line back over on the other side of these woods. So this land over here didn't have any water. This land over here was getting cut off by the creek. You know, pieces of I don't know, I mean, this, you know, 10 acres here, 5 acres there, an acre there was getting cut off by the creek. So my grandfather bought this land in 77, and he told me one time that not long before he had bought it, and I have our other grandfather has lived here his whole life, and he's 84 years old, and he told me back in the 60s they came in with a backhoe and straightened the creek out and ran it right down the middle of that field, which is just on the other side of this dirt that we've already plowed. And they ran it straight across and tried to tag into that ditch that they had made with the mules or whatever, and then came back around. And actually, I don't know if you can see those heifers way over there. It follows back around and connects back to where it originally used to run. So what they did was they straightened the creek out. They put water on that property, and then on this property, you know, the creek quit running. And so we now 20 what did I say, 60? So 60 years later, we got these ditches that are low-lying areas, and anytime it rains, all the water comes down and just sits in these ditches because it really doesn't have anywhere to go. Yeah. And if you go stand next to the creek down there, you can tell that they dug it out, and then when they dug it out, they just threw the dirt over to the side. So if you're standing on the original ground, the bank of the creek is about 3 feet higher. So basically it's all a bowl. And there's a few areas, and what it looks like is old cow trails where the water ended up starting to run over when it would flood, and then they would cut a ditch. Like this strip right here cuts into a ditch and runs off into the creek, and then there's a couple others here and there, and then there's a couple other places that it just sits until it dries up. But so in the meantime, while planting the sorghum, we're also trying to fix all these problems, and you know, trying to gain this land back, which before we bought it, we knew that this was a low area, and we knew because this would just sit water here right out into that field. And like I said, we bought that we bought where we're standing right now 8 years ago, and to get to where we're standing from the fence line, you would have had to crawl on your belly if you could even make it here. And you know, it looked like that over there. So if this was a drier year, we could probably do a way better job than what we're doing right now, but we're trying to do the best we can. And don't let this fool you here, because all Wes did was just took the track hoe bucket and connected to that ditch, trying to pull the water over to this ditch over here, and because that was just kind of leaking out into the field there. And then so once we get it all shaped how it needs to be, we'll get all this smoothed up, leveled off, and then when it rains, it may still hold water a little bit, or it may still be wetter ground because there's nothing you can do about it. This is the lowest lying area there is around. But at least it'll drain off, and then in a week or so, it'll be back to regular ground instead of sitting in puddles of water for a month. So I'm going to say that right there is probably 4 acres, and then we can't get too close to the fence because all the limbs are hanging over, and there's no point because a chopper is not going to be able to go underneath the limbs, and plus we don't want to be dragging the top of the roofs of the tractors under them. So maybe in the summer when we ain't got nothing to do, we'll come down, trim the tree limbs, and make it to where next year we can get closer to the fence. And then really we need to go down to the fence line and clean it all up. I don't want to jump over, but that barbed wire fence there has got to be 70 years old. I mean, it's wood post, and the barbed wire is so brittle that you kink it over, it'll just break. We did have electric fence running down the side of it. We left that there, and we're just going to leave it there. And the barbed wire is all crap. Really, all the barbed wire around here is 50, 60, 70 years old, so a lot of it needs replacing. But like I said, we own this, we rent that, and we're just trying to get it all fixed up. And same thing, you see the power line tower over there underneath the power line. We could plow that. Now it's clear, it's growed up, but same damn thing where it's holding water. And I think the reason that's holding water because in 2004 they came in and logged this place, and when they logged it, they must have made some dams, you know, when they were building little roads and stuff. And it's just, it is what it is, and we're just trying to work on it as much as we can, when we can, how we can, however we can. So this hill here is nothing but pure sand. We dug was it you or Wes that dug that hole?
I dug it.
Jeremy dug a hole back in 2013 or 12. Dug it as deep as that track hoe would dig, which is about 23 feet, and it was pure sand all the way down. And then this over here, this is sand here, but it's got some clay mixed into it, and it's like red clay up there, sand over here, some black looking clay, some stuff that looks like bricks out there. A lot of different soil types across here. So hopefully by next year this place looks completely different. And like I said, it's just been a struggle trying to get it to do anything, and it takes a lot of time and a lot of effort to to get something like this to drain off. Well, dang it, I'm pretty good because I just ran an area on this field here, on this section of the field, and it was 12.5 acres, and then that back section is 7.5 acres. So like I said earlier, I'm figuring that we're going to get 20 acres out of the 25 acres that this could be. So right here is the fence that we built. It took us an afternoon to tear it down, and then an afternoon to build it over here. And then right there's the creek running, and you can tell, I mean, you can tell being here in person that it actually rises up 2 or 3 foot up to it, and the same thing on the other side. So back when I was probably 18 years old and I still had my dirt bike, I could jump that if I wanted to, if I had the balls to. But anyway, right up here I got stuck last night. I drove through it several times the previous day, but we dried out quite a bit, and you know, everybody knows that when the ground's wetter, it's easier to drive through than when it dries out some. You know, something to do with the mud being tacky and friction and momentum and all that good stuff. So I ended up getting stuck probably 30 minutes before dark. Right there is where I got pulled out backwards by the dozer, and we'll get over here a little bit. You can see I was going the same direction that we're going right now, and I got my front tires right up to there, and then the back tires, the right hand side was buried down pretty good. So we unhooked the disc and dragged the disc out of the way, and then pulled the tractor out backwards and came right out, no problem. But it was kind of scary getting the new tractor stuck, especially out here. So there's another little wet spot right there. I just had to feather it up a little bit, and then so we're losing probably 4 acres here, and there's just nothing we can do about it right now. I mean, it could possibly, if it turns dry, that in a few weeks we could come in and disc that up and then plant, and that would just be way behind the rest of it, but it is still a possibility, I guess. Well, alright, so we just finished the side of the hill over there, and where we call 48. We went ahead and did that. So the sacrifice field that the group 2 was in, was it group 2? I don't remember now, but they were in 49, and then we went ahead and did 48. This all over here is done. Wes is on the little dozer, smoothing out some piles that had some stumps in them and stuff from way back when we cleared the side of this hill. So he's smoothing those out right now, and that over there is about done. We're going to cross the ditch there, and then he went and made a little bit of a crossing and smoothed out some of the dirt that he had dug out of the ditch. So we're going to go through that way, make a couple passes along the ditch there, and then come back and finish this side here when he gets done with that. That's the hill that's pure sand. We just had to pull up here, and we poured 3 2.5 gallon boxes or jugs of DEF fluid in the tractor, so we're good on that now. Actually, we only filled about 3/4 of the way, so there's 2 more on there I was gonna keep for the other Puma, but so another 20-30 minutes here and we'll be done and headed to go hook up the drill. So Wes's advice was I could plow up to right about here in front of us, and then across here I could drive across, but don't be screwing around because it is soft, and as long as we drove through here we should be just fine, but if we get to messing around we'll sink. So not too bad. It looks scarier, but when we came out here and was pulling the fences down, just right back there, kind of where that tree's sticking out, I tried to cross right there in the 6410 and buried the 6410. Can't remember how I got out. I think I pulled it out with the track hoe. No, we pulled that out with the dozer that time. Another time I tried to cross up over here and buried the front end on the 6410, and then Wes came up and pushed on the forks with the track hoe and pushed me out and backwards. Yeah, so just in that, while we were down here and it was still soft and wet down here, the 6410 got buried twice, a Ranger got buried, and a four-wheeler got buried just in those 2 afternoons. So it is 100 times better than it was then. So we're just going to clean up along this ditch a little bit and get it ready. So you can see here what we got over here. It's kind of wet on the other side of the trees a little bit, but not too bad. I was able to plow through there. And then this is a little slig. This is kind of what he dug out of the bottom of that ditch hole. So anyway, we're just going to finish smoothing this up, get that hill done, and then we'll get out here and go hook the drill up. Well, I've been so busy I almost forgot about the camera. And so got the drill all hooked up, you know, got it greased up, air pressure, blew all the cobwebs off and all that good stuff. Me, Wes, and Allie did that. And actually they did some of it while I was mixing a load of feed, but anyway, just put in 1,000 pounds of seed, enough to do 25 acres is what we were figuring. Just gonna run with that for right now and see how that goes. It was a little after 9 o'clock when we got all that done, and then so went and ate some dinner real quick, and then got started about 10 o'clock, and it's now 11:20. We're probably just gonna get this field done. I'm about 3/4 of the way done with it. This was 15 acres, 16 acres, something like that. Just had to work out some bugs and set up the multi-controller here in the Puma to work the hydraulics on a timer where I can just press the button and it'll raise and lower the drill. That just kind of frees up this hand. I can press the button and work the GPS here, making paint strips where I'm going and all that, so I can just keep tabs of that. And then the lights in this tractor are freaking awesome compared to that 7800 that we had. I never liked drilling at night because I couldn't see anything, and with this tractor there's no problem with seeing. So yeah, everything's going good. We're probably gonna stop here in another, I bet I got like 30 minutes or so. It's kind of slow going at the beginning. Usually you can knock out a field like this in 45 minutes or so, but just trying to work out the kinks. You know, it's a little different in this tractor than it was in the 7800, and the feel of it, and all that stuff. So I've drilled so much in that 7800 I could just drive back and forth with no GPS and my eyes closed. But in this, everything feels different. The gap between where I'm sitting and the last drill mark, even though I'm using GPS, don't fully trust that and all that, so it's kind of something to get used to, I guess. But as you can see, we're going. Wes is actually spraying right beside me right now. I don't know if you can see him, he's right over the back of my head. He's in the 7210 with a spray rig. He's spraying atrazine behind me there. So just a pre-emergent spray. I think they said 80 days of protection against weeds. So that's what we're doing, and like I said, we're trying to beat the rain that will be happening in about 24 hours from now. So get this field done, and that'll be 15 acres out of 100 that we have ready, and we want to get all 100 of them done, and then we can worry about the rest after the rain. So you know, that still has to be disced and everything. But if this dirt got wet, it'd be a week or more before we could even touch it again. Like I said, it just now got dry enough today to even run on it. Well, actually, I can see some tire tracks there where I sunk a little bit. Not much, just a little bit. And then there's still some spots out here that you can tell they're soft. So we're just gonna keep. That's a little too fast. Going around almost 5 miles an hour. It's pretty good speed right now. If it was daylight, maybe go a little faster, but not too much. But anyway. So we'll probably get this done, go home, go to bed, and then wake up in the morning and get the cows fed and all that stuff, and then get the rest of the seed put out. So we'll see you in the morning. All right, so let's see, what time is it? 4:15 right now, and this following day. I know I said that we would see you in the morning, but this morning, between feeding the cows and some other stuff going on, we had a load of feed show up. There was soil holes and a hopper bottom, so I had to unload that. Last night when I got done, I noticed that basically the stop for when you lower the cylinders all the way down, or lower the drill down, was starting to break or fracture right there on top of the tube. So Wes had to heat that up. I hit it with a sledgehammer a couple times, and then he ended up welding it. And there you go. Hello.
Hey, am I going to be rolling that area where you put up those that?
Okay, that was Allie. She's just talking about what she's got to roll down here in that bottom. But anyway, yeah. So this morning I unloaded the soil holes, all that good stuff, and got the drill fixed. It was just minor, but could have ended up being a big problem. But just a 20-30 minute fix. So anyway, with all that going on and trying to get feed done and everything else, we didn't get done till I guess it was about noon with all the dairy type stuff, and then grabbed something to eat real quick, loaded the drill up, and then I got started drilling a little while ago. This is that was 12 acres, and then last night I finished that one field. At the time I got home, it was 12:30. So and then the other thing is this morning when I woke up, it was lightning and thunder, you know, some ridiculous sounding thunder. And I was like, oh my God, you got to be kidding me. You know, the weatherman said nothing about anything happening until late tonight. So I woke up, got over to the barn, and for about an hour or so there was a lot of lightning and things like that. And what happened was just southwest of here, a storm went through. And then when it got south of us, and then they like fired up south and east of us and took off the other direction. So we actually missed it. We just got enough of a sprinkle to settle the dust. But really, actually, it didn't even really settle the dust that good. So that was just a blood pressure raising moment. The first thing when I woke up this morning, because I thought we're screwed, but we ended up okay. But if that storm that did go by this morning is any indication of what's coming tonight, that's gonna be more of an 80% coverage, and I think we're basically bullseye in it. It's gonna be a lot of water because that whole, looking at my phone this morning, it was just red with very little yellow around the outside. So a lot of rain is headed this way. We got starting on this field, we have about 75 acres to do, and I got about 6 hours or so before that happens. I'm gonna have to load up again. We ended up putting 2,700 pounds of seed in the drill, which the sorghum seed is like little BBs. So we're able to put more pounds in the drill box than you would with, say, the winter rye or the triticale or anything like that. So I should have had enough to do about 65 to 70 acres, and so eventually I'm gonna have to put a little bit more back in the drill again. So hopefully we just keep rolling, keep going smooth. I wish I had the time to do like a montage of the drill going back and forth and all that good stuff, but right now it's just go, 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 because we don't want to get rained out. And if we get rained out, what we got plowed is going to have to sit for a week. I've already probably said that 10 times. Alright, we're still going at it. It's 9:30. Went back up to the dairy barn, and Wes took the drill and put 42 more sacks back into the drill to fill it all the way back up. And while he was doing that, I mixed that feed and ran that last load of feed off for tonight. And then about the same time I got done feeding, my wife showed up with dinner, and then so I sat in her car and ate it. And then right when I got done eating, Wes pulled back up with a tractor, so I jumped in it and got back out here. It was just way easier to take the drill up there, let me go put out feed, or mix up feed and put it out, and instead of trying to haul seed out here to where I am. So Allie's still over there rolling. She shouldn't have too much more. What the hell is that standing in front of me? Oh, it's just grass. Looks like a big old coyote or something. Anyway, we got about 45 more acres to do, and then we'll be done. Those line of storms right now at 9:30 are sitting just now getting to the Red River, so we could still have plenty of time. I don't think I'm going to get done before midnight. We'll just have to see how it goes, how fast I can knock stuff out, but we'll keep checking back. Right now we're out here on the sandy hill. That's where I had mentioned earlier in the video that Jeremy dug a hole that was 23 feet deep and just pure sand all the way down. So we're making the last couple passes here out here in the low areas, or whatever you want to call it, back here in the back. And it's just now 12:15. Wes came and relieved Allie probably a little over an hour ago, and then she went on home. And Wes was on his way out and he got stuck. So he went and got the little dozer, and he's pulling himself out right now. So hopefully we'll get up there and get him a hand, and then we'll fold this up and get out of here. We got, I think, one more pass left on the outside back here. So since we got back out here at 9 o'clock or whatever it was, we've done 27 acres. Got a lot of lightning flashes and stuff off in the distance. The 10 o'clock news said that was going to be rolling through here between midnight and 1 a.m. So it's not too far away right now. Well, he already got himself out, but that roller just anchored itself in the mud going through that gap there, and I guess he just couldn't pull it. So I'm gonna jump out and fold the drill up, move to the next field. Well, we didn't even make it across pasture and it let loose, so we're gonna have to just call it a night. Go park it. Didn't get 25 acres of it done. Got basically all the really wet, low-lying areas done. Just missed out on those other 25 acres, so it's not end of the world or anything like that. We'll just have to wait a few days for it to dry out. So right now we're just headed back up to up there where the shop is to park all these. I gotta jump out and get this gate. I'm gonna get soaking wet. I already had to jump out once, so with that being said, thanks for watching. Don't forget to comment, rate, and subscribe. And we'll see you on the next one. It's 12:30 right now, so it's just about on time when they said it was going to hit. We'll see you on the next one.